Good morning, Jordan. Coming to you this morning from Daviess County Fire Department, our airport station at 2145 Airport Road. We're going to talk this morning about fire prevention, things to look for, things to check as we move into the winter season. We're going to begin this morning by looking at our smoke detector. We have a smoke detector here in this bedroom. We're going to take it down, look at it, check the date, see when we need to change the battery. And just remember, folks, the clock change is coming up next month in November, but if you want to go ahead and change those batteries now, that's perfectly okay. So when you take the detector down to change that battery, go ahead and check it for dust. If it's dusty and needs to be cleaned, it's got lint or anything on it, let's go ahead and vacuum it off. And then remember those dates. If you're checking that date and it's anything over 10 years old, let's go ahead and discard that smoke detector and get a new one. They do have a life expectancy of about 10 years. So once they reach that lifetime limit, let's get them replaced. So now we're going to climb the ladder, we're going to pull down our smoke detector, and we're going to look at it and then get it back in service. So when we're doing this at home, I know some folks won't need a 6-foot step ladder, but I do have to have a step ladder here at the station. Our ceilings are kind of high. Just remember to use good home safety. If you've got a 2-step stool, remember to use it. If you have someone that can hold your ladder, by all means, please do that. So climbing the ladder, I'm going to pull my detector down. They will twist one way or the other. I've got it down. Looking at my battery, I would change my battery. I don't have a battery to put in today, but I would change my battery. My date is good. This smoke detector is about 3 years old. Everything looks clean. It's got no dust, no paint. I'm going to put it back in service, get it back on its port. And we are good to go. The battery and everything's back in. At this point, I would test the detector. This detector is not able to be tested. This detector is a hardwired detector. But if you have one that is able to be tested, go ahead and test it. Make sure everything's working well. Put it back in service and leave it alone. Let it do its job. Okay, we're now in the laundry room here at the Daviess County Fire Department. We want to talk about our dryer. Dryers sometimes tend to give us problems with fires. A couple things we can do to make sure that we have these dryers well maintained. You always want to clean that lint screen after each individual load. As you can see, I've got lint that I've taken out of my lint screen. My screen is clean. I'm going to put it back in, make sure it's back in properly. Then there are things we can do external. You can take a shop vac or the home vac, clean out the vent tube, the vent pipe. You can vacuum that out from the outside, or you can actually take it apart physically, pull the dryer out, clean around it. We always want to get that lint built up away and gone. This is highly flammable, so any heat source that can get to this can cause a fire. Nowadays, a lot of the dryers, and I have one, I had to purchase a new washer dryer set here recently. My unit is wireless. It Bluetooths information to us, and it tells me when I forget to clean the vent. For us men that typically forget a lot of things, my wife reminds me all the time that that's a good thing. It lets her know that I haven't cleaned the vent. Now we're in what we would consider the utility room area of your home. I'm in our HVAC room here at the airport station. Our room is very clean, as you can see. We don't have a lot of clutter for good reason. You don't want to have a lot of clutter around your furnace. This time of year, everybody's turning on that heater. The air is beginning to get a little chilly outside. Temperatures are changing. Winter is approaching. Some things you want to do. You want to make sure that air filter is clean. Our filter here, open the container, pull the filter out. My filter here is not very dirty. Has been replaced here recently. I'm going to replace it back. We replace our filters about once a month here at the station. For comparison perspective, we'll go ahead and look at a clean filter and our filter that was in the unit. So you see a little dust, as you can see, a little bit of difference. So they will change this at the beginning of next month. So we change these about once a month. Some other things you want to look at. If you feel comfortable enough, you want to open the front of that furnace up and look at your heat exchanger. 2 or 3 good reasons you want to do that. The dust bunnies, as I like to say, collect on that heat exchanger, and they will give you a sense of a smell of something burning. So if you can take a vacuum, clean that off, make sure it's completely clear of any debris, dust, things such as that. If you're not comfortable doing that, by all means, reach out to that professional that you use for your HVAC around the home. Let them do a preventative maintenance service before the winter season approaches. Stops a lot of problems with furnaces and keeps a visit from the fire department from not happening. So now we're going to move into the kitchen, talk about some home cooking safety. I know during the pandemic, we've all came back home and cooked a whole lot more at home. Some things we want to remember and check on. If we have young children in the home and we're allowing them to cook, again, that's a parent's, guardian's prerogative. Make sure they understand what they can and cannot use on the stove. And if we've got older parents, grandparents that we want to check on, again, as you age, the aging process memory tends to slip, things happen, and we forget and leave things places we shouldn't. So if you've got the parents or grandparents that are home more, staying home, cooking more, don't be afraid to go by and check on them and remind them, hey mom, hey grandma, grandpa, some things that we don't want to leave on the stove. And they've been cooking for years and they will understand what you're trying to do is help them. So some things we've got here on our stove, I've got a plastic lid, plastic container. Again, I got my oven mitt, and we're going to use that when we get into the oven, but we don't want to leave it on top of the stove top. We can sometimes forget and leave that burner on. Plastic container containing our salt, again, a plastic spoon, and something as simple as just an egg crate. Some things like that we don't want to leave on our stove. We also want to make sure when we leave and we're done cooking, we've got everything off. Make sure all the buttons are in the off position. Make sure gas is not flowing, especially on a gas cooktop. Things will sometimes get left on and that gas will be flowing and you will not know it for quite a while until you smell that smell of gas inside your home. Electric, again, it's going to glow red. You're going to see that it is on. Got one of these items laying in a hot cooking surface, you're going to know pretty quickly that they shouldn't be there. So some things to remember. Again, if you want to have the stove checked out, call that professional. Let that professional appliance repair person, preventative maintenance person come in and check anything that you may be concerned about. Got burners not lighting properly, things such as that. And again, on the parents and the grandparents that are staying home and cooking a lot more than they used to, don't be afraid to check on them and give them some pointers. Okay, to close out this morning, I want to talk about some things that we will be talking about this year in our schools. As you all know, October is Fire Safety Month. Something I want to really talk about a lot with our kiddos this year is having two ways out of that room. We tend to spend a lot of time in our bedroom. Of course, we sleep there, play there, do homework there, things such as that. Something were to happen in our main way of egress out of that room, that door ends up being blocked. We want to talk about how to get out. We want to talk about how to be able to go out of a window. If we're on a second floor, mom, dad, legal guardian, we want to talk to them about getting a safety rope ladder. You can buy that at any of the biggest box retailers, the Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. But the time to use that is not when we have an actual fire. We want to practice using that just like we do in our fire drills at home and at school. So we want to deploy that ladder out the window, show that young adult how to climb down that ladder safely. And if that's not possible, if we've got a special needs child or they just are not comfortable doing that, we want to make sure they understand how to call out. Don't hide in the closet, don't hide under the bed, but be listening to that firefighter coming in to rescue them and be able to call out in a loud voice that's understandable and audible that the firefighter can hear. Again, any questions, feel free to reach out to us, 270-685-8440. Again, our Facebook page, go on there and like it. Any comments, so you can reach us through the Facebook page as well and Messenger also. Email is khurm@daviessky.org. Hope you have a great day and hope you keep safe this winter.